All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the strict architectural frameworks and coding standards you absolutely need to build truly robust SAP Analytics Cloud applications. I mean, if you've ever found yourself totally lost in a maze of messy scripts, or you're sitting there wondering why on earth your dashboard takes an eternity to load, well, you're in the exact right place. We're looking directly at the blueprints for success. So, 100. According to our source material on SAP Analytics Cloud Development, there are over 100 distinct enterprise JavaScript use cases. Think about that for a second. We're talking everything from dynamic filtering and cascading dropdowns, all the way to complex rolling forecasts and what-if simulations. When you're dealing with that massive level of functionality, just kind of hacking together a few basic scripts, yeah, that simply won't cut it anymore.
Because, honestly, we aren't just talking about simple data visualizations here. When you're tasked with building high-stakes applications, like a heavy-hitting executive CFO dashboard on the BI side or intricate workforce planning models on the planning side, the sheer scale demands a serious architectural blueprint. These are mission-critical tools literally driving enterprise decisions.
Okay, so here's our game plan to save complex enterprise projects from collapsing under their own weight. We'll hit the Enterprise SAC challenge, lay the architectural foundation, master JavaScript design patterns, tackle optimization and performance, and finish up with achieving production-ready standards. Let's jump right in.
First up, Section 1, the Enterprise SAC Challenge, Scaling Beyond Basic Scripts. We really have to understand the critical difference between entry-level scripting and true enterprise architecture.
And wow, the contrast is stark. Basic scripting, which, let's face it, is where most developers start out, is just button clicks, setting basic variables, maybe reading a text field. But enterprise architecture? That is a completely different beast. It demands modular code, performance tuning, and reusable frameworks. I mean, imagine the absolute chaos of trying to manage those 100 use cases we just talked about with hard-to-read spaghetti code. You know the kind, where your most important variable is named something ridiculous like final underscore v2 underscore use this one, right? Enterprise architecture replaces all that chaos with a clean, highly manageable structure.
Moving right along to Section 2, laying the architectural foundation, acting as the blueprint for long-term maintainability.
So there is a standard operating procedure for clean coding, and these 5 steps, they are absolutely non-negotiable for enterprise teams. Step 1, naming conventions, got to ensure everyone's speaking the exact same language. Step 2 is folder structure to keep your assets organized. Step 3, source control to track your history. Step 4, documentation, which, let's be honest, ensures the project survives employee turnover or maybe just a really long vacation. And Step 5, code reviews to enforce quality. The big takeaway here is that without these rigorous steps, your application's structural integrity will eventually fail. It might work flawlessly on day 1, but day 100, total maintenance nightmare.
All right, with that solid foundation poured, Section 3. Mastering JavaScript design patterns, focusing on building out that structural integrity.
Now, modular code is essentially the practice of breaking down complex, monolithic scripts into smaller, independent, and reusable functions. Think of it like building with Lego bricks instead of carving a single giant block of wood. If you make a mistake carving the wood, the whole piece is pretty much ruined. But with Lego, you just swap out the one piece that isn't working. It's brilliant. Modular code prevents redundancy and makes it significantly easier to manage updates across your entire SAP Analytics Cloud environment.
To actually achieve that modularity, our sources heavily emphasize creating a reusable utility library. By leveraging reusable functions and shared configuration objects, developers don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel every single time they build a new page. You can efficiently scale features, like those dynamic cascading filters and scenario comparisons, across multiple dashboards. This saves massive amounts of development time and, crucially, ensures absolute consistency. Then we have the Event Dispatcher, which is a total game changer for enterprise applications. Instead of hard-coding every single action directly into a button's on-click event, an Event Dispatcher acts as a centralized hub for how your application communicates with itself. Implementing this pattern is absolutely essential for keeping responsive layouts and complex planning workflows neatly organized and, most importantly, completely decoupled. So practically speaking, a change in your data action doesn't mean you have to dig in and rewrite the code hidden inside your user interface.
Okay, let's move into the polish phase. Section 4, Optimization, Debugging, and Performance. We're tackling a pain point we all know way too well here.
Because applying enterprise coding standards creates a massive reduction in resource consumption. Just look at the difference here.
Before optimization, applications often suffer from sky-high memory usage and these totally unnecessary data refreshes that just grind browsers to a halt. After optimization, memory load drops significantly and redundant refreshes are entirely eliminated. This right here is exactly the difference between a dashboard your users actually love and a dashboard they refuse to touch because it's just too incredibly slow.
So how do we actually get that dramatic drop? Well, you've got to master some specific tuning strategies. Lazy loading is a big one. It ensures you only load the widgets the user is actively looking at. Then there's result set optimization, which prevents the system from pulling a million rows of data when you realistically only need, say, 10. And efficient loops make sure your browser doesn't freeze up during complex calculations. Ensuring your financial and operational models run seamlessly relies heavily on implementing these exact techniques.
But remember, performance isn't just about speed, it's about reliability. Rigorous error handling, logging, and debugging are literally mandatory for stability. In a true enterprise environment, you simply cannot afford for a revenue planning script to silently fail in the background. These practices are your ultimate safety nets. They ensure that if something does go wrong, and let's be real, it will, the system gracefully handles the issue and logs it so your dev team can actually fix it rather than leaving the end user staring helplessly at a broken screen.
Finally, let's pull all these blueprints together to see the final build. Section 5. Achieving Production-Ready Standards. Let's look at how highly requested features map directly to our enterprise standards in a capstone project. The reality is, you simply cannot have interactive dashboards, budget input forms, or complex multi-actions succeed without the underlying standards supporting the whole shebang. Those features require a responsive UI, strict validation, and deep performance optimization to function correctly in the real world. A true enterprise application integrates these sophisticated features perfectly with that underlying code structure. And this quote really sums up the ultimate learning outcome from our source material. Deliver production-grade planning and analytics solutions for finance, sales, supply chain, and executive reporting. The goal isn't just to write code, right? By applying modular design patterns, rigorous naming conventions, and strict performance tuning, you elevate your work from mere scripts to highly scalable, enterprise-grade solutions that global organizations can confidently rely on. So take a hard look at your current code bases, your folder structures, and your own scripting habits. Ask yourself this final question before you kick off your next major build. Is your SAP Analytics Cloud architecture built to scale, or is it built to fail? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep structuring those applications, and I will catch you in the next one.